Hello ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, and one last game here for you today. It is going to be our final game, and it's also going to be the final game of this series between CJ Antis and KT Rolster, and it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be stats and effort. The first Zerg that we've seen here today. I swear I don't actually hate Zerg. I know I know I get frustrated with Zerg a lot playing against them, but I swear I don't actually hate Zerg. It's just coincidence with Jangby playing so many times and the dragons all showing up and then zero. It's just coincidence that there were no, or our second Zerg, that there weren't a whole lot of Zergs today and a lot of PvP. Just coincidence. That's all. But this should be a doozy. This should be great. Stats and effort. Actually, yeah, I love effort. I love the alien Zerg. He is just so good. And to see him coming back with CJ Antis, and I think he's like 3-0 right now for CJ, and CJ's 3-0, and yeah, just rocking this house. Yeah, I'm so ecstatic to see him back in the fold and playing really well. I was extremely disappointed when he retired after beating Flash. That was really disappointing to me to see him. There is Flash. See him beat Flash and then retire. Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. I thought he had a chance to really make a real mark on the game, and he decided to kind of call it quits. But he's back now, and you know he's got a chance to do it again. You know, he's off to a great start, and he's got that OSL. I mean, and he's got one OSL. He's got a chance to add another one. There's no reason to think that effort can't add another OSL to his resume. There's no reason at all that would not happen. And stats on the other side is definitely a really good player. We saw him particularly in Winners League last year just go off, and I think he had 2 all kills, 3 kills, and a bunch of other 2 kills and whatnot. Just played fantastically, but yeah, he's got an opportunity here as well to win the series for KT, and I don't think KT's actually won a series yet this year. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they've actually even won a series, so KT's really reeling right now, and needs a win badly to keep their hopes alive here. Obviously, I mean, they're not like out of it if they lose this series, but they are digging themselves a hole with teams as strong as SKT and CJ, and the power that you see in Team 8 and Woongjin Stars playing so well as well. You know, you don't want to dig yourself a hole here early and force yourself to come back late in the season. It's just not something that you really want to do. So KT, I think, needs this win a lot more than CJ Antis, who's looking really good. And Stats is going to be the one they send out to try and do it, and he's an amazing player, and he's actually going Nexus before Gateway, so not even going for a Forge. And I have, you know, this is actually a new thing that we've been seeing recently, is that players have been starting to go Gateway first to take advantage of the fact that Zerg players these days don't go, one, they go 12 hatch a lot, and second, they don't often produce those 6 Zerglings anymore. They tend to produce 2 Zerglings, and send one to fight off the scouting probe, and really they just send one Zergling over to just scout out. And so in that situation that you do see so much, you might as well, why do you need the Forge? Why do you need the Candy? You might as well get that Gateway down, might as well race to get your tech going, because obviously you're in a much better situation if you're able to do that and get your tech up going a little bit faster and things like that. So, you know, it's one of those things that I actually really like the more mutation of the metagame that we see in StarCraft at high level play. It's really cool to me because players know how to deal with everything that we've seen, and now they're trying to add some new wrinkles to try and take advantage of their opponent's tendencies. I think it's really good, and I think Stats going for that here is very smart. Obviously, in this particular situation, he put both of them down like back to back, so it's not as big a deal. But we have seen that in other games where players are going Gateway before Forge, and they're starting to, particularly with Samson Khan, with guys like Jangby, and also Cal does it a lot, but Cal did it before. Cal just always does it. He's just super hyper aggressive, so that's a Cal staple. But we're seeing other Protosses really start to pick that up as well, and I really like to see that. I like to see wrinkles in the game. I don't want to see the game stagnate at all. You know, that's when the game gets kind of really boring and you don't want to watch anymore, and those kinds of wrinkles, they add a little bit of fun to it. You know, that early Zealot, a lot of times it doesn't do anything, but it's kind of fun to watch. It adds a little excitement to the early game, and I love it. So that's what we've got going on here. We have the Cybernetics core already finished, and the Stargate coming up now for Stats as well, and we're just waiting to see what kind of a build effort's really going to go for here for CJ, and you know, he can go with anything right now. He's got the 3 bases, he got his 3 hatch going, he could go 3 hatch Spire into a Hydra build, he could actually see him try and go for a 4th base really early. He really has all the options in the world, could see a lurker play, all sorts of things here. They are cross position, so obviously the potential to be greedy, to be aggressive is there. at cross position. He's waiting for that lair to finish, and he does go for the Spire, so he's going to get those Scourge at least out in the air early to deal with the early Corsairs and get that scouting information that he needs, and then we'll see where he develops the game from there. It's going to be critical, really, what kind of decision he likes to make. And I haven't watched a lot of the effort games, actually. I wish I had, to actually see what kind of form he's in. Is he really dominating? Is he just playing that amazingly? Or is he kind of just, you know, taking advantage of lesser players? I don't know. I'd love to know, and for that's one of the major reasons I wanted to cast this game, is because I knew Effort was playing. I want to see what kind of form he's in here, and how well he's really playing. So that Stargate should be pumping out a Corsair here very, very shortly. It should be just about completed, and we'll see if he goes for the Scout or just goes straight for that Overlord. He's going to go straight for that Overlord, so he's going to pick that off very, very easily. I'm going to look for a what? That's a odd place for a hatchery, just right outside of his base. Or no, that's oh no, I'm sorry, that's on the inside, like inside portion of his base. It just looks like it's in a really odd position because it's so far away from everything else, but it's actually still inside of his base, so he'll be able to defend that perfectly fine. So more Corsair Speak still being built from Stats as well, and Effort is going to go for that 4th base at the 3 o'clock position. So there we go. We are going to see a 4-base build coming in here, and Stats, I think Stats has some really good harassment techniques. I would really love to see him maybe go for you know, some DT harassment, maybe mix in some Zealots as well. Drop a couple Zealots here, or a Zealot and DT here, into this base. Send a couple Zealots to this 3 o'clock base. Drop a DT and a Zealot at the 12 o'clock, that mineral only. See if you can drop another DT into the main. You know, just try and be a little bit creative here and try and take advantage of the fact that the 4 bases are actually kind of far apart. They look pretty close, but just by the way the map works, they really are pretty difficult to get to each one. They are pretty geographically distant, and that Overlord, very, very lucky, escaping the sight range of that Corsair, and is going to make it. So a little mini win for Effort there, getting a little bit lucky and able to survive. And there is the DT already out, so there we go. He's gonna bust out and see what he can do, what kind of damage he can do. He's gonna go straight for the 3 o'clock. It looks like he's heading straight that way, and we've got the back nexus being taken by Stats as well. As I mentioned previously, this is Electric Circuit, which is basically the 4-player Medusa map. So you do have that back expo, and we do have the side disruptors that can be broken to send you into the back here. And this DT does get into the 3 o'clock base. Is going to try and pick off the Sunken Colony, and not going to be able to do so because an Overlord is actually already in the area. So I don't think Stats knew that Overlord was coming in there. So he thought he could pick off the Sunken Colony before the Overlord pop, and unable to do so. If he did pick off that Sunken Colony, it would have been actually potentially very, very devastating. Not only picking off the Sunken Colony, but with DT micro, but with the move micro, you can actually deal with a lot of Zerglings pretty quickly, even with the Overlords there. So very nice by Effort, able to bring in that other Overlord to just get enough sight range and bring in those Lings as well to defend that base. We do have the Hydra starting to pump out now as well from Effort, and going to put on a contain, and it looks like one of those some Scourge actually do land and take out a Corsair, and are those Corsairs +1 upgrade? I don't believe so. I'm going to take a look at it next time they click on them. But the Hydra's coming in here for a contain. We have a couple High Templars with presumably no Storm quite yet. And actually, there is a Storm catching a bunch of Hydras. Not getting a lot of kills, but those are very, very damaged Hydras. So if we do see an engagement, very similar to when you see Reavers, as we've seen in all these PvCs, if you do see the Reaver get a scare buff, even if they don't get the kill, they do a lot of damage, and that'll reap dividends later on. And these Corsairs, taking advantage of all the Hydras putting on the contain, are going to start picking off Overlords, picking off a couple already, looking for more to break down. And yeah, he's going to start being able to do some damage here, and the Hydra's bursting in here. Another decent Storm catching a few of the Hydras, able to take them down, and cannons being put up very, very quickly by Stats, and it looks like it is going to be enough to defend right now. He is at risk of losing that Forge, though. That is going to be important that if he can maintain that Forge and continue his upgrades, that will be very, very good for him. If he does lose that Forge, he'll have to rebuild it, or risk falling behind in upgrades to your Zerg opponent, which is really, really bad. It's awful. If you're the Protoss and you can't keep up with upgrades and you fall behind more than one level in upgrades, you are going to be hurting badly. So it's really important that he tries to keep that Forge alive or produce another one in order to keep his upgrades, you know, there with the rest. Oh, and loses a Corsair to that Spore Colony. He needs to micro those a little bit better. He does manage to continuously pick up these Overlords. Look at these Overlords getting popped left and right. And in the bottom right-hand corner, CJ is Effort on the left and KT Stats on the right. And here we come, drop coming in for Effort, and Stats' Corsairs are way out of position. That Probe is going to see it, but you know, that is so far, that is so late, it doesn't even matter. So here we go. Here comes the drop. How much damage will it be able able to do. I don't believe there's any lurkers in there. No, I don't believe that there are any lurkers in there. So Storm coming in here, and that doesn't look like nearly as many Hydras as I was expecting. That's because some of the Hydras are being dropped in the main as well. So this is going to be a two-pronged Hydra drop. The back base is not going to take too much damage. He does kill the cannon, but he's going to lose all these Hydras. And in the main as well, a Storm coming down and actually picking up some of the probes as well, I would think, as well as the Hydras. But overall, I don't think, you know, that is not good for effort. That is actually a win for Stats. He's able to defend that pretty well. He does not lose a whole lot, although he does have a lurker there, but I don't think he's going to be able to beat that cannon. So, unfortunate for him. If there were some lurkers in that group, if he had just, you know, waited that 30 seconds to get a couple lurkers out, that could have actually been really, really nice for him, because if he could get some lurkers on that ramp, I don't believe Stats has any observers in position. So, once he gets down that one photon cannon, he would have been able to really take down that back base. Unfortunately, you know, a little bit of impatience here from effort, and so he's not going to be able to, so he wasn't able to have as effective an attack as you would hope. And that second colony, or I'm sorry, that lurker poorly positioned by effort. So we're seeing some cracks in the effort rust, and he's just doesn't have all of the, you know, doesn't have all the little things right on target where he needs to be. And this drop, if he goes for it, isn't going to work as well. Some Zealots and Corsairs come in here to pick off the Overlords and the Hydras, and very, very nicely done by Stats. He is going to be able to pick off all of these Overlords and is going to be able to pick off the Hydras as well, unless they, you know, go in full retreat. But the Hydras, effort with a nice play, they're trying to pick off as many Corsairs as he could, and this drop actually coming into the bottom corner. I didn't see this potential vulnerable point, so those that lurker is going to be somewhat effective, is going to stop a lot of mining here, and the second lurker is going to come in here at the main, and what kind of damage will it be able to do? Here we go. We're going to get to see. And where's the lurker? I feel like the lurker should have been dropped. The first lurker at the natural does go down, and there is the lurker, does get dropped, and is not going to get any kills. So these lurkers, they're in good positions. He's finding gaps in the defense, but he's not able to really get the kills that he needs. He's getting some mining disruption, but he's not getting the kills, and that's really, really important. And these are lurkers and overlords and minerals and gas and hydraulics and lurkers that he's not going to have with his main army for the big fight. And Stats is pushing out now. He senses that he's won a lot of these drops in terms of the military losses, so now he's going to go for it and try and do as much damage as he can. And he's got a great potential here. I think he's got he's got a 40-side advantage, and he's got those he's got a lot of storm, and I don't think effort has a lot of ability to take out those stormers right now. So this is going to be a big brute force battle, and I actually don't like effort's chances here. This is going to be really, really difficult for him to fend this off. He does manage to pick off all the Corsairs, which is good. But effort is definitely in a very, very vulnerable position right now, not only because he has to defend his main, but because that 3 o'clock is also vulnerable. Even though the two bases are close, what that also means is that by putting a contain on at the min, or at the natural, he can actually go straight into the 3 o'clock. Or what it looks like he's going to do is just go barreling down the 3 o'clock corridor as well. And just by coming up here, he takes the bridge. If he can take that bridge to the north where those Mutalisks are right now, you know, it's free reign over this base, and there's no way that effort's going to be able to defend this base. I don't really see it. Here come the Mutalisks, and good tech switch for effort, going to try and pick off as many of the Stormers as he can. It looks like he was able to pick off several of them, just maybe one left, but that's a great storm by Stats, doing a ton of damage to a ton of Hydralisks. So a fantastic storm by Stats, and his speed loss are bursting through. +2 weapons on the Hydralisks, but no armor, so they are getting melted. They are getting wrecked by the Zealots of Stats, and here come the Dragoons as well, doing a ton of damage, and the Hydras and the Mules able to actually take out a lot of the army for Stats. Once the Zealots started whittling in numbers, he was able to do a lot of damage, but the Mules do all go down, and it looks like effort is going to be able to hold here. Effort does hold, at least for now, does manage to hold. And will Stats continue with it? Here we go. Stats is taking his 4th base now at the 9 o'clock position, so the economies of the game really starting to tilt towards Stats' favor at this point. We do see effort with about 7 hatcheries worth of production, and you know, that's a lot of production. You can make a lot of Zerglings out of those. Out of all those larvae. And for Stats, we do see that he finally remembered to macro. It looked like his minerals were getting up there to about 1,500 or so. So looks like he finally macroed up and is going to spend a lot of that money and going to get rolling once again. It looks like actually he might have produced a decent bit of tech out of that. I'm curious just to see what kind of what he built out of that. There's a couple gateways, and not sure what else actually. Maybe put down that 9 o'clock base. And once again, we see effort setting up for another drop here at the 6 o'clock position. Going to try and bring in some lurkers, and 6 star Sense, 6/6 Star Sense, almost hacking-esque by Stats. He's got forces positioned already ready for this. Yeah, he's already ready for this, and that's not going to do much of anything. We got some cannons coming up here at the 9 o'clock position to defend, and the probe transfer going on down here. So Stats looking in great shape, I gotta say. You know, I'm a big Effort fan, but Stats is looking fantastic at this moment, and yeah, if he keeps this up, he's going to be in good shape. Here comes Effort coming into the 9 o'clock position, going to try and force some storms out with all these Hydras popping in here and picking off a lot of the stormers, and that's actually a really nicely done by Effort. Forced a lot of storms out, killed off several of the stormers as well, and here comes the Lurker drop coming in here at the back expansion, and they are going to be able to take down a bunch of probes this time. Perfect timing, unfortunately, for Stats. He brings back his stormers and his elves to go help at the front at the 9 o'clock position, and then comes the drop, so able to pick off some probes, but eventually does get cleared up by Stats as well, and Effort not able to make a real strong push here at the 9 o'clock position, although it looks like he's once again going to come in here for a Lurker drop. One Lurker, and is there a second Lurker? Nope, looks like there's just the one Lurker. So going to disrupt some more mining once again, really focusing on his harassment here in this game for Effort, and you know, it's looking decent. Not fantastic, not all that great, but he's at least giving you know, he's at least going for a lot here. So interesting decision here for Effort. And he's actually going to push in towards the main, and I think this is very dangerous because Stats has the opportunity to come in here for a flank, and that is exactly what he's going to do here. I'm going to come in here from 2 different bridges and is going to fight Effort here, and this is not a good engagement spot for Effort, but he's going to go for it anyways. Storm's coming in, injuring a lot of his Hydras, and those Hydras are doing a ton of damage. They are taking a lot of damage too, and Stats getting some bugged out zealots going in the wrong direction, unfortunately. But Effort is once again going to lose the field and not able to break down this Protoss army, this 2-0 weaponized Protoss army, getting very, very big, very, very strong, and that Protoss death ball starting to build, with those Dragoons counts starting to increase, with the with the High Templar starting to grow in numbers. Mutalisk tech switch, once the Dragoons start getting to like +2 weapons, it's pretty hard actually to pull it off. Those Dragoons just start doing so much damage so quickly that it's not very effective at all, which is why you don't see the late game muta tech switches. Once those weapons and those Dragoon counts go, it's not worth your time. And it looks like we might have a Doom drop coming in here. It looks about 7 or 8 Overlords coming in here for a big drop here once again at the back expo. How much damage will they be able to do? Stats is responding with a solid number, and that's not even all of his forces, folks. That is nowhere near all of his forces, and that is still going to be a decent reaction from him. That is a lot of units. And I think he's actually going to be able to clean this up. Yeah, he is going to be able to clean this up, and he's not going to lose his Nexus either. So another failed harassment from Effort. So this game has just been one instance after another of Stats just able to fight off Effort's harassment and just able to just grow this death ball and just get stronger and stronger while Effort throws himself against the impenetrable defenses of Stats. So Effort unable to really do what he must with his harassment, and he is falling more and more behind here as the game wears on. Stats I've got to say, I'm really, really impressed with Stats this game. His reactions are fantastic, and his ability to win all of these battles. Here comes the Mutas coming in for a tech switch, and they are going to go for the Stormers, and how well will they do? He is picking off some of them, forcing some of the Storms out, and they are actually, you know, they're going to be somewhat effective, but you still see a lot of High Templar around right now, and those Mutas are whittling in numbers. They are almost all out, but he does draw out a lot of Storms, so that is good, at least something. That is something for Effort. He did draw out a lot of Storms to be used on those Mutas, but now he still has to worry about this death ball, this growing death ball, getting stronger and stronger. All those Dragoons, that Archon now as well, those Archons start to get pretty beefy, especially with +3 weapons. They absolutely melt the units, and here comes Stats with the death ball coming down, barreling down Effort's natural expansion, and here he comes. Nice storm by Stats, you know. And this is starting to look very, very poor for Effort. He's going to really struggle to defend against this. And there are, you know, more good storms, although he stormed his own observer. But I think he's still going to be okay. Just not enough lurkers. Looking at this, there's just not enough lurkers really for Effort to really do the damage that he needs to. And not able to get this lurker burrowed. It doesn't matter. It's over. GG, you folks. Just waiting for Effort to GG at this point. This is set 5, so we may see Effort with his golden hair and his awesome new haircut and that yellow jacket, which... I don't know, I don't like it yet, but I have the feeling that that yellow jacket for CJ might grow on me. I don't like it right now, but I'm going to hold out true judgment for until I see it a few more times, just because I get this feeling that it might grow on me. So I'm going to give it a shot as Stats coming in here to finish off this game, and he's got tons and tons of gas and to produce lots of Templar, and CJ forced to GG. Effort is out, and Stats gets KT Roaster. I believe this is their first win of the year. They lost to Ace, they lost to SKT. Trying to think who else they played. I know they have at least those 2 losses, so I think they're 1-3 at this point for KT, and that is the chin toss. Even though he doesn't have a chin anymore, we need a new nickname for him because he doesn't have a chin. It was affecting his overbite, his jaw, and his chewing too much. So they actually got rid of it. And that's gonna be all, folks. That was 6 games for you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was couple-hour marathon of casting, and yeah, it was fun, folks. And I'll bring you some more commentaries when I get the chance. I will see you guys already. Have fun. GG.